world is beautiful and vast, with so much to offer. So we decided to take a 10-day ambitious road trip. We started our trip in the beautiful Rocky Mountains of Alberta, Canada, and we made our way through the beautiful mountains of British Columbia. From there, we took a train to Washington, Seattle, where Starbucks was born, through Oregon State, where it's lush and green, in through Northern California, where you got some of the tallest trees in the world, lakes as blue as the eye can see, with views that can inspire you. Going south through the Golden State, where some of the most innovative bridges were born, sunsets that could take your breath away, and taking some of the gorgeous coast drives on our way to LA, where the sun is always shining. The world is our oyster, and we just have to explore it. Hell yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. You can't do that. Crack of dawn. Yeah, some goat. Is that goat? What is that? Deer?
I don't know. One's facing us though. The car had to stop. I don't know what that is. Crazy.
Yeah, it looks like deer. Crossing. Looks like they took off. Wow. So today we have a lot to see. We're traveling from Jasper all the way down to Whistler, BC, with all kinds of beautiful valleys and incredible sights. So beautiful. Sun's finally peering. Crazy. By far the best sight. British Columbia. I found this interesting, but Moose Lake on our left here is actually derived from the Fraser River, and the Fraser River would actually be from the origin of Mount Robson. Mount Robson is one of the biggest peaks in all of Canada Rockies. This peak is at a height of 3,954 meters high. Interesting fact about Taichon Cache, it's actually a French-derived word, nickname derived from a trader/trapper that actually was guiding Hudson's Bay Company in the 1800s. French decided on the nickname Taichon because he had blonde hair. Valemount dates back to the first European fur traders in 1805. It became a railroad station in 1928 for trade. Now for tourism, if you like extracurricular activities, boating, skiing, snowboarding, this might be for you. Clouds cutting through the mountains. What's unique about BC is the climate can change very drastically. So the North Thompson River actually originates from the toe of the Thompson Glacier, which is just west of Valemount, that little city we passed earlier. It's one of the largest tributaries of the Fraser River. forestry industry. It also focuses on tourism and agriculture. In 2003, there was a major fire that swept through the area of Barriere. Most of the fire derived from Armor Mountain, hence the burned trees that you'll notice later on down the road. We're driving through Kamloops. Almost. We're almost there. He's signing. He's signing. Okay. This is automatic. This is nothing. Automatic.
We have the roof open actually too. We have a sunroof.
Oh yeah. Nice fresh air that you don't get in the Ontario
Not
regions.
at all. Nice fall weather here too.
Alright.
Absolutely lovely. Do we have your phone?
No, it's fine.
No.
No. Kamloops is a pretty important cross-sectional town. It's got a population of about 100,000 plus, one of the largest communities in the Thompson County. It is also known as the tournament capital of Canada. It hosts well over 100 tournaments each year. Diving a little more into the history, the first explorers arrived in 1811. The 1860s is when the gold rush started, which is also the same time the Canadian Pacific Railway was also brought in. That actually helped build trade and the growth of furs. Interesting fact of Kamloops Lakes is that it actually gets fed from north and south of the Thompson River. When water passes through from places like Shuswaps Lakes, it mixes and warms Kamloops Lakes. Savona is a small town located on the southern side of the Kamloops Lake. Once upon a time, it used to actually be on the northern side. The name Savona actually came from a man that created a ferry system that went across the Thompson River, and he started this ferry off the shores of this location. Alright, first stop in a while actually. Check this out. Crazy. That's okay because it's damp. Look at this. was a little cold. But yeah, check this view out. It's crazy. Crazy. Canyon is part of a provincial park that was established in 1956. It's known for its limestone formations. It also includes Pavilion Lake. It's a great place if you like extracurricular activities or perhaps camping. You can do stuff like ice climbing, fishing, boating, such. Had to stop. Look at the rainbow. It's crazy canyon. Unreal. Isn't that beautiful? This section of Pavilion is an incredible drive. It's actually longer than it may appear, but the views are incredible. The very large canyon to the right hand side is where the Fraser River passes. Passing through this canyon, you'll see where the Fraser River connects into Lillooet. Fountain Valley is a rural community, and this is just south of the Native Indian Reserve. It's also east of Lillooet, which we're just coming up to just around the valley bend.
Whistler. Crazy. Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Lillooet is a small town that's part of the gold rush history of 1884. Fraser River is actually one of the largest salmon spawning rivers in the world running through Lillooet. It's one of the important locations for the Aboriginal culture. It's also known as a summer hotspot, which is a viable place for growing good wine. Beautiful turquoise blue Seton Lake. This is a freshwater lake that derives from the Anderson Lake, as well as the Whitecap Mountains. This used to be the bluer, the clearer, and the more brilliant of two lakes. Due to the power project that they opened at the end of the lake, it has dulled the water over time. Dufy Lake Road is a long, bendy, turny, across mountains while you're going through valleys. Is one of the most beautiful drives you'll probably drive through in this section. Some of these mountains you can't tell how high they really are because they're above the clouds. Mount Brew is actually a pretty tall mountain. It's 1,757 meters high. Just to put that in perspective, if you ever been in New York, the Empire State Building is 443 meters. That's almost 4 times the height. If you ever been to Toronto, the CN Tower is 553 meters. This is 3 times the height. So this is a pretty tall mountain. The area of Dufay Lake and Mount Royal tend to be a little bit more precipitation based. The reason being is because the Pacific Ocean is where most weather fronts tend to originate. Moisture from the weather would then run east towards the mountains and run up the mountain to the peaks. The peaks is where ice caps and snow caps can potentially be created, and from there they fall into these areas such as these valleys, and this is where rain and or snow can be created. Interesting little fact about Mount Currie is it's a small, mostly First Nation community in BC. It was named after a Scottish settler named John Currie. He pursued a life of gold seeking throughout California and Caribou, but was unsuccessful, so he decided to become a rancher and live outside of Pemberton with his native Indian wife from Lillooet in 1885. Okay, so interesting facts about Whistler. In 1860s, the British Royal Navy first surveyed the area, and they named it the London Mountain because it typically had heavy fog and clouds that gathered around the mountains. Following that, the area informally acquired the name Whistler due to the call of the Hooray Marmot. The Hooray Marmot, aka known the Whistler, for its high-pitched warning alert sound that he sends to his colonies when they're in danger. They like to live near tree lines and slopes where there's grass, and that's where they tend to eat, near the rocky areas. So they went with the name Whistler in order to make it more marketable for the area and resort. In 1962, 4 businessmen began looking for areas that they had the intent of opening a ski resort. In 1966, Whistler Mountain opened to the public. In 1968, they had the intent of putting in a bid for the Winter Olympics. Although the bid didn't work out, they ended up getting the Winter Olympics in 2010.
Super nice. Scandinavian spa. Whistler, BC.
If you ever get to go to the spa, I highly suggest you check it out. It's got hot tubs, steam rooms, spas, saunas, hammocks, fireplaces, massage if you need it. Worth it. Bedtime after a good spa. Big day tomorrow. Whistler to Vancouver and Vancouver to Seattle, Washington. Signing out from Whistler.